Hi guys, welcome back to August Love Story, the channel. My name is Artieka.
And today my name is Tommy.
Yep, that's his name. Today we are reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 5. The episode is titled, It's All About the Journey. If you guys haven't already, please take a minute to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. You ready?
I am, ma'am.
Seems like a reoccurring theme here. We either talk about Nicole and Chris the least or Dominique and McKinley the least. Which one of them you want to go with?
Oh, we can get Nicole and Chris out the way. Like, they are really unforgettable.
Or do you mean forgettable?
Forgettable. I started singing the song in my head.
Oh, okay. So, Nicole and Chris, they have breakfast.
That's pretty much their whole conversation. So
let us know that they stayed up talking and learning about each other's past. He says that he can see himself being able to fall in love with her. And I said, sir.
It's early.
Today, y'all met
yesterday or 2 days ago.
2 days before today.
3 days ago.
But you know what? We've had a lot of couples have this honeymoon, I love you infatuation. Most of them didn't stay together.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there's that. They did a rum tasting on the beach.
I remember when we went to Jamaica and we did that rum tasting.
Yeah, I was like, I just went on the beach too.
And like they gave us 100 proof. I was finna say 100. 100 proof rum. Dude tried to give it to Artieka. I was like, nah, she don't need that. She does not need that, man. All I saw was you taking that and then you throwing it up, and then I have to be there and be like, it's all right. You know, the little rub on the back, it's okay.
I don't think I tasted any of that. Like, I think I tasted maybe 2 types of rum. Yeah. But they had much heavier pours than we had.
They was giving us cups of rum.
No, they gave us those little bitty
things. Oh, you talking about the people?
Yeah.
Nah, we was like, man, I felt like we was drinking.
Yeah.
Drinking.
She said she wasn't planning on getting drunk with her husband this quickly. And then she tells him about old Nicole versus new Nicole and starting her personal growth journey. And then the big kicker for them was the conversation about kids. She says she is open to having kids, but it's not on her list.
Yeah. She reminded me a lot of you when we first started. Yeah, when we first started dating and everything. Kids wasn't really a thing that you were excited to talk about. Unlike me, I was like, yeah, I definitely want kids. She was like, you know, if it happens, it happens type of deal. Mm-hmm. But I hope they can. It's not for them. Yeah, it's nice that they have this conversation now, but like know each other. Mm-hmm. You know, the thing that I would say is be prepared to not ever have children, but look forward to having children. Mm-hmm. Because you would never know what to do. I always had that
conversation with you about like, because you were like, I'm having kids. I'm like, but what if we can't?
Yeah. And we figure out something.
Did not figure out anything, apparently.
Yeah.
But
because we got 2.
But I think that that's an important conversation. I'm not saying for married at first sight couples, but like couples in general.
Yeah.
It's an important conversation because on top of do you want to or do you not want to, you also have to find out the what if it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because I always read these horror stories of like women who are like, I don't know the man that I married because he can't give me children, or I can't give him children, and he like went crazy or something. And it's like, that person has to have always been in there deep down, but we just don't know the way that the person's going to respond to it, because in our minds, we always believe, oh, everything on my body works perfectly fine.
Yeah, and from a man's perspective, it's, it's like, man, you're supposed to work. This is what we're supposed to do, and this is supposed to be the outcome, type of deal. So I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's just you have to be very mature when you come into a relationship, especially a marriage, and you have to grow in that maturity, because your maturity changes from the situation to situation just because of how you're able to handle it. Now, the thing that I think is most important is, in their conversation, was her saying, I'm open to it. Maybe I've never thought about it, or I've, not wanted children, because this is her first marriage, her first time being married and stuff like that. So it's not a serious conversation to have until you're in a position, until you're either pregnant or you're getting married, or that this person is the person that you want to be with. Now, it's one of those hypothetical questions or conversations to have, around, but ain't no serious thought been put into it, until then. But her being open to say, I'm open to children, but, that's a fair answer, or fair, assessment of the situation. So.
You got anything else for them?
Nah, man.
They gave us drinks to drink. We drank them. Got drunk.
Got drunk.
All right.
Their dance moves sucked, though.
He was like, they had us do a.
Did you see like
I was like, what are them shoulders doing?
I don't know, man. His legs was doing one thing, and the shoulders, I don't know what beat he was on. It's just so funny, man, because like down there, they get you to do things like that, and it's so funny.
For their enjoyment,
right.
Because they need a laugh. I gotta come to work and deal with these drunk people every day. You dance,
right? Here, do this.
They probably sit up and be like, I got them.
Yeah. Oh, man, it's too funny, man.
So Dominique and McKinley.
I thought they was gonna do it this episode.
Okay.
No, it was good to see that they were laughing and joking. That was the one thing that stood out the most to me, is that he was really putting on his charm. Or what he thought it was, and she was receiving it, because it's like I always say, if you laugh, I got you, right?
Okay.
And so she, like, his jokes may have been corny or something like that, but she laughed. So in my book, he got her. He just got to, know how to maneuver with it, because I'm looking forward to them not working. This sounds bad, but
I was about to say something not along those lines, but about them not working. But go ahead.
Like, I look forward to them not working, and it's not in a joyous way, but it's like, okay, so I don't think they're going to work out. One, because she didn't really sign up for this. Her mom signed her up for it. Two, the age gap. And then three, the previews.
And that's what I was about to say, was that preview of her walking down the hall with that box crying. I was like, how many times they make her refilm that?
Man.
Like, she lost the anger in her steps down the hall. Probably they was like, go back down to the end of the hall and do it again.
Yeah, just start crying.
Because I just think about like doing random things for B-roll.
Yeah.
And how tedious that can be.
Yeah.
But then on top of you having to do random things for B-roll, which they're usually not including them in that stuff. But then they are like, yeah, we didn't get enough footage off of that. Can you do it again?
Man, I'll be so embarrassed when not embarrassed, but when I first started like doing video and stuff and learning about B-roll, I used to be so nervous because I know I look stupid.
Oh.
Why is he just feminist flower walking in a circle with a camera. Or why is he walking so slow backwards? Oh, man.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. It's funny now.
But no, it probably isn't funny to her still when you have to angrily walk down the hall.
Mm-hmm. Man, but so two things with Mac. I like that she called him Mac because it makes me where I can call him Mac because his whole name is too long to say.
I wonder if he blast Return of the Mac.
I would. That would be my theme music. Like Coach Prime be like, play me my theme music. That would be Return. It plays every time I'm, DJing and stuff.
Okay.
But no, he's so infatuated with her boobies. Mm-hmm. She reminds me of the Girls Gone Wild. Like, because she talks about them, and it's just, I don't know, I got Girls Gone Wild vibes from her. And then he's just like so infatuated with him. I think
it's just her being 25.
I think so too, man.
She's 25 and she's giggly.
And she's on spring break.
But she's 25 and she's giggly. And I'm not even saying from a sexual standpoint, but she's just like a giggly person. Yeah. Like everything makes her chuckle.
But I want to move past the 25-year-old part.
No, I'm just saying that specifically to the.
But that's the thing that I'm like working on. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, she's 25, whatever. But it's so hard to do because she didn't sign up for it. Mm-hmm. It's like you doing something nice for your mom because your mom wants you to do that.
I can't imagine my mother doing that.
I can't either.
Like my mama? Or you talking about your mama?
Both of our moms.
Now, your mama definitely wouldn't do it because your mama would be like, what show is that?
Yeah.
My mama actually watches the show, but like if we weren't married, and I can't see my mom saying, you know what you should do? You should go on this TV show.
Yeah, no.
She'd probably be like, this is nuts. She would be like, Linda. This is nuts. They go out on a boat. They discuss how far they're going to go out. He's less adventurous about it. And she was like, I have to block out his comments because he's going to say that he's not going to do it, but he's going to do it anyway. So I can't get in my head that it's not going to happen because it's still going to happen.
Yeah.
So after they get off the boat, they have lunch and they talk about him being adventurous and him wanting to go fishing with her. And she was like, am I going to have to bait your hook? And he was like, maybe.
It's a possibility.
He does tell her that he's thankful for her taking him out of his comfort zone. And then they go for a swim and goes right back to these boobies.
Yeah. That's the funny part, man.
I use your word, boobies. Because I was like breasts.
Yeah. That's what he was saying. So I was just going along with what he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
The politically correct word verbiage is breast.
This fishing thing, I get it because if you don't go fishing, and I don't go fishing, but nothing about fishing seems attractive. Like that part of it.
Yeah.
Like I remember the first time my granddaddy told me that we was gonna have to put crickets on the hook. I was like, I'm not going. But I was also like 6.
Yeah. Like when my granddad took me fishing for the first time, we had the worms. I didn't know he was saying worms.
What you thought he was saying?
Worms. That's what he was saying. I was like, what are you saying? And I couldn't understand.
I love that all country black men, like old elder country black men, sound the same. Because you saying that made me hear my granddad.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Like I could not understand what he was saying. And then I'm sitting there playing with him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like 6,
he was
7
like,
years
that's the
old.
fish's lunch.
Yeah, he's like, stop.
I love that about your granddaddy.
And then one time I was like, we was fishing. I'm throwing rocks in the water, skipping the rocks and stuff. He like, you scan the fish. Stop. Oh, I miss my granddad. But I think that's important. But I also think Mac needs to figure out his thing that he wants her to do, or the thing that he does, because she goes fishing, so what does he do so she can come along with it? To kind of you guys doing things together and experiencing each other in your element, you know? And I think that's important too. And they haven't talked about that yet. So, but yeah, I ain't have nothing else to write about them.
All right. So where you want to go next?
It don't matter, man. We can go to one, let's go to Airris, Jasmine.
All right. So they decide to go snorkeling. And I wanted to ask you about that. What? He was saying that the snorkel mask wouldn't fit against his beard. Did you have those issues? I didn't go snorkeling with Tommy.
I had to go solo.
Stayed on the beach and drank.
Well, I didn't go by myself, but you
went spouseless.
Spouseless.
But you weren't the only guy that went spouseless, were you?
Nah, I don't think so.
Because I felt like there was another woman or two that was just laying on the beach while I was laying on the beach.
I don't think I went spouseless.
We went to a couples resort. And so everybody there was a couple. So when you just saw random one person laying on the beach, you're like, where is their significant other?
Yeah.
And it was like a group of us in one area that was just laid out, reading books, playing on their phone, watching the ocean.
Yeah. Watching that little man come on that boat.
Trying to sell us stuff.
Yeah. Like, where you come from, bro?
So for breakfast, I'm skipping back. She has bacon, and he asked her about her bacon eating and says that she needs to cut back to save some pigs. And I'm like, bro, leave her bacon.
He asked her, do she eat bacon every day? And I was like, 100% our household does.
Not every day.
Well, okay, 90% our household eats bacon.
If there's bacon in the house, we're eating bacon.
Yeah.
We very seldom say we're going to switch to sausage or go meatless or anything like that.
I really wonder, have they had the conversation about why he's vegan?
He's not vegan because he ate her lobster.
Why he's...
I don't know.
It's too many titles to it. Why he doesn't eat meat.
Pork.
Is it pork or meat?
The only meat that I've heard him talk about is pork.
Okay.
Because he's still eating... He could be a pescatarian because we have seen him eat seafood.
Yeah.
But I don't know about chicken and beef and all the other things.
But have they had that conversation as to why? And how does he deal with a person that doesn't have those dietary restrictions and stuff like that? Because the thing about it is, we have friends that don't eat meat, and we basically became adults knowing that they, don't eat meat, so we respect that.
One of our groomsmen in our wedding was the first vegetarian that I ever came in contact with. Yeah. And it's one of those things that you learned about him, us all just at 18 going to get something to eat at Presidential.
Right. And for me, it was for me, my country self, you don't eat meat. When I'm meeting this guy when he's 18 years old. I'm 18. He's 17, actually.
Yeah.
Meet him.
He is younger than us, huh?
Yeah. Meet him. Think he's one of the most amazing people ever created.
That's funny because my friends that didn't know him were like, he is a really cool dude.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's just him.
Yeah, that's just him, man. Thought he was so amazing. We were able to create a friendship, but we also talked about why he does it, and how he maneuvers around, and he respects us from eating meat, for eating meat. You know what I'm saying? It's not a thing of, oh, you eating that? why you eating, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. But it's a...
I remember we had the conversation about the chickens. He was like, how I'm going to raise the chickens and then be like, I'm going to kill you too. I was like, I'm not going to personally kill the chicken, but if somebody offered me some raw meat, bruh, I'm going to cook it.
I'm going to cook it. I'm definitely going to cook it. But, you know, he respects us eating our, you know, dietary specification. We respect his.
Yeah, whenever he comes by, I always make sure that we have something that he can eat here.
Be like, bro, what you want? You know, how do I prepare that? And also, when I get on my kick of not eating meat, I always can go to him and ask him, what did you eat today? You know, and I can kind of gauge what I should eat or, you know, have for lunch tomorrow or something. So, but anyway, I wonder if Airris and Jasmine has had that conversation, because that's important. Because once they get home, you know, who's going to be taking care of the meals, or how is that going to be divided?
I think it's going to be a lot of him taking care of his own meals.
I think that comes with it, but I mean, she has to feel comfortable in cooking for him, as well as him feeling comfortable making sure she eats. You know, being that food is one of the most important things next to water that us humans need. It's nourishment. But anyway, back to the episode. I can talk about food.
About to go on a tangent.
Yeah, I can talk about food all day.
They talked about why their past relationships didn't work. He said that it was 80% him. She said that she walked away from all of her past relationships, and he asked her why. She was like, she's a workaholic. She's got to learn how to scale back. And he talked about kind of jumping in and helping her with things that he can already see are pulling her thin. So he was saying, you know, going and sitting with her mom while she does chemo, or making sure that they both can eat. Also walking her 20 dogs. His words, not mine. But I was like, it is almost 20
It's a lot, though.
It's almost 20 of them. I was like, where does she live? She can't live in an apartment.
No, she has to have a house.
With all these dogs. And then I learned from my home care days that some counties have restrictions on the number of dogs you can have. Oh, really? Because I met a lady.
But she's a breeder, though.
This lady was a breeder.
Oh, yeah?
But I met a lady who had to leave her home in one county because she exceeded the number of animals that she could have. And she ended up buying a house in Winder. I can't remember what county that is. But she was like, she had to move up that way. She was like, she had a lot of land where she was, but the restrictions of the county were that she could not have that many animals. And like people were reporting her.
Oh, that sucks, man.
I get it. Let's see. We talked about them going snorkeling. So they sit down and they have dinner, and she says, ask me anything, or something to that vein. And he said, what's your favorite sexual position? And she just looked at him like, N-word, I know you just didn't.
My whole response to that whole conversation was, but he said he's going to tone it down a little.
Where? What time so I could be there?
But I also think that was one of the most, like, talking about sex. Like, it made her, I don't want to say cringy, because it wasn't a nasty, negative conversation, but it made her giddy a little, uncomfortable, but giddy and understanding where the questions are coming from. But I was like, that's one of the better conversations to have. It seems a bit early, but hey, it's no time better than the present to have a conversation about sex. But her saying in her confessional that she just needs to be guided better in those conversations and and stuff like that. I respect the conversation. It's kind of, whoa, where did this come from?
If I tell you, ask me anything, and the first thing you do is jump to sex,
I don't think you can be upset. You said, ask me anything.
But your mind immediately, we sit here having dinner, and the first thing you think about is sex. I'm like, you don't care about getting to know me.
I just thought about sex right then.
You don't care about getting to know me at all.
I do care
about trying to get your rocks off.
Nah, I mean, like, that's a form of getting to know you.
Is it?
It is. But anyway, they have plenty of time to talk about everything, and that being the conversation that he wants to have. And
he said he's going to add sex mentor to his resume. And I'm like, how do you know that she needs to be mentored in sex?
I'm pretty sure they had more of a conversation.
But he was like, she don't like to talk about it. Wanting to talk about it and being good or bad at it is two different things.
But that's where it started. Like, me and you talked about that.
What?
Like,
remind me.
How you, like, the question of how do you like to be pleased?
Okay.
Right?
Uh-huh.
That comes up in conversation. And for her, she may not know.
Okay.
If that question is asked, okay, well, I can, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this, we can do that type of deal.
I guess for me, he feels like he's
Artieka. Obviously probably more experienced than she is. That's what I get. Those are the vibes that I get from it.
Perhaps. She was in very long-term relationships. However, I don't think that two separate thoughts. Experience with a lot of different people does not translate to being good with me.
Right.
That's one.
Yeah.
Two is you should have some type of inkling that you're at least going to get it. Typically that you have already gotten it before we start off at dinner just talking about it. Me, Artieka.
Yeah, that's you.
That's how I feel. I feel like that's how she feels too, because she looked at him like, I'll cut you.
I have no clue how she felt about him asking her that. I know the only thing that I know is that it took her back, but she was not like, I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't this is a no-go for me. It was But
then he says she's giving lady vibes and he wants her to give whore.
I don't see nothing wrong with with his line of questioning and the conversation that he
72 hours in, that's what you tell me?
I just don't see anything wrong with it. And the reason why...
You like Kevin Samuels too, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I didn't. Like, no, I didn't agree with him. But the reason why I don't have an issue with it is because that's that's an important conversation for married people. Mm-hmm. No matter if you're 72 in or 72,000 in.
I just feel like you don't know me. And you might not get to know me in that way if this is the only track that you have.
But I feel like Airris is enough of a mature person to understand that I can talk about this or I can't talk about this, because you know people that you can have conversations with versus conversations you can't have with people. Mm-hmm. And you're going to push the envelope on both of them, because if I'm only stuck in this box, I'm going to go to the edges of the corners to have my conversations and see where else I can go. That's the way I feel like he's having a conversation. All right, I'm going to just see where we go with this. Oh, she didn't change the subject. Oh, she, continued on in the conversation. So obviously he felt comfortable in asking her that, where she may have thought it came out of nowhere and, didn't feel comfortable, but it wasn't, it didn't bother her that he asked it. That's what I got from that. And so it's like, okay, we'll explore that some more, knowing that's one of those conversations. Like, it's not the only conversation to have, but it's one of those conversations to have. Hopefully I explained that well.
I'm still on Bruh, chill out.
We just met.
chill out. Like, your follow-up question when I say no is, what's your favorite color? Like,
I heard.
I felt like you should ask me that a little bit earlier in this conversation.
That's funny.
But anywho, next and final scene for them was them playing frisbee and then going for a quote-unquote walk that really was just, we're going to walk from this grassy patch over here and lean.
Yeah.
They talk about the stars aligning for them to be together, and then they get into the conversation about falling in love. She was in love in her last relationship. He says he's never been in love.
No, he actually said he said, I love the game, but I've never been in love.
His entire existence on this show just screams red flag after red flag.
I didn't like the confusion part with that whole statement that he was saying he's never been in love. He described love. He was saying, well, you know, I wouldn't want anything to happen to the person. I love the person. You know, I wanted to make sure that they was okay. I wanted to make sure that they did this. If something happened to them, I want to, you know, and all these things. I was like, but that's love. You know?
Maybe it wasn't kind and patient.
But he described all these characteristics of love, and I'm like, you've never been in love, so what's the definition of being in love, and how is it different?
I think that he had his heart broken, and he doesn't want to claim that as love, right?
Yeah.
Because of that heartbreak. And with him having that heartbreak and not wanting to claim that as love, I definitely think that he is attempting to protect himself, his heart, by saying, I ain't love her anyways, or I ain't love none of them anyways. Because like he said, he went almost 20 years being, quote unquote, a savage.
Mm-hmm.
Something struck that. You were in love and it wasn't reciprocated, or something happened. Because like, I was never a person to say I've never been in love, right? But I think the older that you get and you can reflect back on your life, you're like, I was in love, or I ain't like him like that for real at all. Like, God, that was an infatuation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the wisdom of being able to look back at it.
Mm-hmm.
Like having that experience behind you and not being in it. But like, he said he was with somebody for over a year, and it's like, that just ain't like that was convenient sex for you.
Yeah, but that was the long distance relationship that he described on the after party.
That he cheated on her.
Yeah. So that wasn't love. But nothing.
Love, people that be in love still cheat.
Yeah. But it's like they need to help them define what being in love is, because the acts of love, you then question, is love in action? And being in love is supposed to be the action. But if love is the action, why being in love is so different from love? So it's for her, she's looking at it like, oh, snap, he's never been in love. We've seen this story before.
Ryan.
He's never been in love. So how is he going to fall in love? Like, does he need to be in love in order to say yes? And his answer to that question was, I don't know.
And
which is fair.
But if you've never been in love, at the ending of 8 weeks, especially the way that this show has to heighten everything, do you even know that you're in love, or do you just think, I just got to go through these motions?
Yeah. But it's he has a strong caring for a person, which is not in his book love. Like, you have to define what that means to know if you're there or not.
There's an Audre Lorde quote that's like, if you don't define yourself for yourself, you'll be crushed into other people's fantasies of you and eaten alive. And I look at that for you have to define love for yourself.
Yeah.
And you're saying that you've never been in love, but you're describing what all these other people think of as love. You're going to put yourself in a position where you're always going to be reaching for something that's quote unquote unattainable, but it's been right there the whole time.
Right.
So
and it taints your view of where you are. Because if Jasmine's love language is to hear like Stasha is to hear I love you, or we're in love, or love, then if you're confused on what that means, it's like you guys are doomed to not work out just because of a simple communication error.
Right.
You know? Yeah, so I
Kirsten and Shaquille?
Let's do it.
All right. So
that's a heck of a way to end one and go to another.
They head to Jamaica, and she's asking him while they're in the airport, so how did everything go? And I was like, I hope this is not the first time that you asked them how did everything go, because you're trash if it is.
Yeah.
Like when he got back to the hotel room, it should have been, awful. Hey babe, how did everything go? Even if it's not a hey babe, but how did everything go? They get to Jamaica, they have breakfast, and he says he feels better about her having been to Jackson with him, and he felt like someone was there rooting for him to succeed. And she was like, I was really upset about having to go to Jackson, but I'm happy that I went. I'm like, are you, or is this camera you? Because I didn't finish watching After Party, but at the very beginning of After Party, he was like, she sends very mixed signals. She says one thing on camera, and then when the cameras aren't rolling, she's a totally different person.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, this not going to work.
Yeah.
Not that we didn't know that it wasn't going to work.
We're going to do our predictions.
You can do them now. I mean, the end of this episode.
All right.
So they go ATV riding, and this is his first time, and he says he's nervous because of the accident. Like he's pretty much played it safe his entire life, and these ATVs riding them fast is not safe.
I felt like she didn't look out for him in that regard. Like she's done it before, and this is his first time. Mm-hmm. And she really didn't kind of look out for him in that regard, knowing that he was nervous about it, because she knew all these things, and she knows about the accident. I don't know if he expressed to her that how nervous he was because of the accident, but she like when she was talking about it, she was like saying that he was moving slow, he was doing this, and he really didn't want to do it, and but this is my adventure side and stuff like that. And this is, I get it. It works. It works, but then it's like, look out for him a little bit, because the expectation is for him to look out for you.
Right.
And so, I don't know,
just hold his hand a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. You don't have to not have fun on him, but this is his first time. Make sure he wants to do it again. Mm-hmm.
So they get done with that. He wants to go work out. She doesn't. And then they sit down and they talk about attraction. He says he still gets butterflies when she sees her. And she told him that she wasn't attracted to him at first because of his bald head, but he's growing on her. And he was like, in the confessional, he was like, she don't like my bald head, but she always touching it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
because she like your bald head.
In the man that she made up in her mind that she was going to get, he wasn't bald.
Yeah.
And her brain can't come to terms that the rest of her is okay with him having a bald head.
I don't think it's... I don't know what it is, but it's something that's just not meeting them two.
He not her type.
Yeah, that's what I think it is, but it's something that's just not for her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's leaning into, well, I'm getting to know you. So I'm seeing that you are a good person. You are a cool person.
She's giving the pageant answers about this relationship.
Yeah.
I'm learning. I'm growing. We can do this.
Mm-hmm. Like she asked him, are you ever afraid to kiss her? And
I was like, y'all kiss?
Right. When did y'all kiss? And
what kind of kiss was it?
On the cheek.
So if it was on the cheek kiss, what's terrifying about that?
Right. But he said something that like probably everybody, that watches this show was saying, is that when he leans in and she rejects him, it feels like a cop-out. Mm-hmm. Basically, it's like you just don't want to kiss him. Mm-hmm. And she explained that she's not a big kisser. She's not into it. And then she says her love language is physical touch. It can get a little bit more physical than a kiss, but a kiss is a very physical thing, and it's an emotional thing too.
I get it. There are things that I would like to do more than kissing as far as intimacy is concerned. Yeah. But nobody's saying that every exchange has to be you tonguing this person down.
Right. It's like a kiss.
A quick peck is a kiss.
Right. It's like, it's a kiss can be that hug or that booty rub or, that pat in the head or it's one of those things that say, I'm with you, mm-hmm. Type of deal. I'm here type of deal. And
she was like, she likes his forehead kisses. I was like, you just don't like his kisses near your mouth.
Yes. Right. Is it COVID? Is it because of COVID?
Can't be. Because if you're laying right here with the person,
you're not afraid of.
You can't be.
Right. Because, whatever they got. Right. Whatever they got, you got it at this point.
A common cold leaked out of his body onto yours that close.
Well, my question was with them, if Kirsten was Ashley, would he still feel the same way?
Who was Ashley?
Just a random
girl.
Yeah.
I'm like, who is Ashley?
Would he still feel the same way about her and being attracted to her with this?
I think that he was down for the process no matter how it went. Mm-hmm. And the bonus for him was that he got a woman that he found attractive. Mm-hmm. There's always, every season, somebody that's going to take what they get and make the best out of it, right? Some seasons to a fault, like Paige.
Yeah. Yeah, like, oh my God.
But there's always somebody on every season that's like, no matter what I get, no matter who I get, I'm putting everything I got into it. And usually that person is met with somebody that is like, I'm not doing anything. Mm-hmm. And that feels like what he got.
Yeah.
So they have dinner and he tells her that he wants to talk about her. All their conversations lean back towards him. What he's working on, what his accomplishments are, what his goals are. But he was like, you don't tell me anything about you, what you got going. And she was like, because of the pandemic, she became really closed off. And she also says that she wants things to be more natural when they speak to each other. I'm taking that, and I don't know, I'm putting words in her mouth, but I'm taking that as she feels like she's being interviewed, mm-hmm. and they're just not naturally flowing the conversation.
Yeah.
And I think that the conversation could flow naturally if there was more volunteered information.
Right. they probably sit around and don't talk to each other a lot.
Yeah.
And then he'll think of something and then start asking her about it. And she'll give, his questions probably aren't conversation leading, or open-ended questions. And her responses are probably always closed off.
One of the things with getting to know a person is trying to figure out how to not seem like they're just sitting down and being interviewed for a job or interviewed for something. Being able to relate things, like even if they sat down after this ATV ride and just talked about, and this would still be going back to him because we know more about him, the trauma of the accident. Like, oh, this is why you do things this way. Well, how do you feel about this? And it's not necessarily interview-like, but that's really, truly getting to know a person and understanding their boundaries and limits. But I don't feel like in anything that she's given us, the viewers, I don't know about him, but she hasn't given us a lot about her.
Right. And I can see how it can be hard to have a conversation with her, but what I don't think people think about is to make the conversations easier, go experience. Go have an experience, right? So take the ATV, for example, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about them. Take the ATV, for example, how he was telling us he was nervous about it because of his accident. Bring that up.
Right.
You know, talk about that. Talk about that experience riding the ATV, and then, you know, talk about her first time experience and then how many times, and lead into that question. And that question can lead to, well, what else have you done? You know, and you can kind of lead into more of a, okay, well, I'm getting to know you this way. You're a thrill seeker. Maybe we can go to an amusement park and ride all the roller coasters. Like, that's the thing I would like to do, you know?
Been there, done that.
Yeah. But
well,
those
except for one.
Which one?
The little short one that I just won't get
I've
on.
ridden that.
But I'm saying, like, me and you, we've gone to an amusement park and rode all the roller coasters, except for that one. Yeah. And I think you respect it. I'm just not getting on that roller coaster.
Hey, it is what it is. I've ridden it.
I get on everything upside down, loop to loop, backwards.
I don't get on nothing that go in a circle, and you respect that.
We have our boundaries.
But yeah, like just having conversations like that.
We have to do that with Asia now that she's here.
Yeah, we do.
Ish. I say ish because she's not technically here yet, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll talk to her in a little bit.
Yeah. But so it's you know, just having a conversation, and I think they have to get comfortable with each other, and I think it's more so her opening up than him.
Right.
So
all right, last but not least is Gina and Clint. This was the never-ending journey to an excursion.
Yeah.
When they were talking about,
they said they got lost. How?
I'm trying to figure out, how did the guy that's driving the shuttle bus get lost?
Right.
This is what he does.
This is your job,
every day. This is what he does every day. They said like a road was flooded.
Yeah.
So I guess he tried to take a detour and he didn't know the detour.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they were talking about the handlebar in front of you. And all I thought was, when we first got to Jamaica, this is how I knew that people couldn't drive. We first got to Jamaica.
Real different than we do.
When we got to Jamaica, there was an ambulance in a ditch.
Yes.
Within it took us an hour or so to get from the airport to our hotel.
Yeah.
Within 20 minutes of this drive, we see an ambulance in a ditch. And nobody thinks anything of it. Man,
we held tight onto those bars on that shuttle.
Oh my goodness. I was like, y'all just get us out of the van. And then every time we got in the van, I was like, why are we doing this?
Right.
Every time we left the resort, I was like, why did we agree to do this again?
Too funny, man.
The car rides were awful.
Man, terrible.
So they were chasing a waterfall. And
TLC say don't go chasing waterfalls.
They did. For different reasons.
Yeah.
But they made it to the waterfall a few hours later. And when they got there and they panned to the waterfall, I was like, this is what we went to see?
Yeah, I thought they was going to do the, what is it, Dunn's River?
Yeah.
Waterfall or
Dunn's River Falls.
Yeah. Because I had fun doing that. But they just went there to stand in it.
I didn't know what they were doing, but I was just like, how did we get here?
Mm-hmm.
Because I got questions. I got a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So they go see this waterfall. They go back to their room and they eat after the excursion and they talk about their past. And
the funniest part about this whole episode is their butler came and said, "I'm sober. I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna change that later, though." I was like, man, that is too funny. He got to the point. He did, man.
And she was like, they were ordering drinks. He was like, what do you want to drink? She was like, something pretty. And I was like, that's how I order drinks sometimes.
They gonna give her some rum punch. And
I think they gave her a Bob Marley.
Did they?
I think. But they absolutely are like, oh, pretty?
Gotcha.
Put some colors into it. So talking about the guys in her past, she was just basically like, the guys haven't been able to contribute anything to it. Like I'm out making moves and they're just they're stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
And Clint was like, oh, they're like, look at my girl, look at everything she's doing. She's like, yeah, basically. So they go out and have these drinks. And then they talk about their physical chemistry. And she said it doesn't feel like there's any overwhelming physical chemistry. And she said, I usually don't vibe with gingers. And I mean, you're ginger. And he was like,
right. I mean, like I said yesterday, I felt like he took that personal. It's almost like two things. I figure ginger and redhead is like
they are the same.
It's their. It's how our dark skin and light skin thing is. Ginger and redhead, not ginger and redhead, but ginger and blonde is their light skin, dark skin thing.
Perhaps. I can't say for certain, but I mean, like that's my comparison. I'm a roll with it.
Yeah, and so that being me standing on that standard, right?
Mm-hmm.
That being the standard, because like it's in our culture, it's a light skin and dark skin thing, and it's been back since slavery. But it's a thing. Like we'd be foolish to not think that it's not a thing in the culture. But that was the first thing I thought about when she said that, and I was like, well, maybe he took offense to it because that shouldn't really exist because it's the person and not the color of their hair.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because if you look at it in the sense of dark and light skin, it's the person. Yeah, we joke about Quad being the lightest person in the house, but Quad is my baby and I love him.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we joke about that.
Mm-hmm.
And
the joke is, where did this come from?
Right.
We know where it came from in my family history, but it's like I wasn't expecting him to take my granddaddy's color. Like he skipped completely over being like a mixture, and he just went way back.
Like he has a dark dad, you know,
right?
And like I joke all the time by saying he's the lightest Tommy.
Mm-hmm. But that's a fact.
But yeah, it is. But it's still him being my son has absolutely nothing to do with his color. Like he's still my son.
Mm-hmm.
I love him the same.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's what I felt like Clint took that as, like, because I'm ginger.
That was her word.
Yeah, because I'm ginger doesn't change who I am. Like, I'm still the same Clint.
Mm-hmm.
you know.
I think that Clint took it as a sign of rejection, and he's like, Clint, don't get rejected.
That too. I saw that from his response.
Yeah, Clint don't get rejected.
Oh, that's what you saying? Okay,
Clint does not get rejected. I can show you some rejection.
Yeah.
And that's when they had the little conversation that obviously didn't happen this episode, but that he likes slender, athletic girls.
And then that made me look at, like, she's thick, but she's not fat.
Right.
And
honestly, I wouldn't even put her in the thick box. Like, I just feel like she has a regular average build.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's not a negative thick. Like, you know, it's not a negative connotation. It's the thick that we all like.
Okay.
As some people, we
fight yourself out the hole.
I'm trying to. I am trying to, because I dug it. I definitely dug it. She's the thick that, you know, like everybody's trying to aspire to be thick.
Slim thick.
Yeah, she's the slim thick.
Oh, okay.
Chick. Got out of that hole.
Just clawing his way out.
Got out of that. But I think Clint messed up from the preview. He messed up when he started talking about those sensitive subjects. But if he was offended in any type of way, I think he needs to tell her that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a conversation to have. Hey, don't look at me as a ginger, redhead, or blonde. Look at me as Clint.
Mm-hmm.
And make your decision based off of that. Like, the physical, like, because I feel like she was telling his family one thing and then come and tell him a different thing, because she said she was attracted to him.
I don't think she said that he was unattractive. I think her direct quote was, I usually don't vibe with gingers or redheads.
And for me and Clint, we took that as, you're looking at him as being a redhead, because what other reason would you say that?
But he is.
But it's like you're coming into it without a blank slate. You're coming into it with eraser markers on your paper.
Okay, so I see how you could be offended by it.
Yeah.
But if you look at the statement, it's kind of like going back to, what's his name that was like, Rihanna's no Beyonce?
Stephen A.
Yeah. The statement is true.
Yeah. Yeah.
But people made it into shade.
Because it was an unnecessary statement.
However, is it not true?
I hate it when you hit me with the however.
But is it not true,
yes,
though?
It is true.
And for her
they
to
are
say,
two different people.
For her to say, I usually don't vibe with redheads. It could be a very true statement. I have to assume that it's true because it's her.
Yeah.
Her truth.
Yeah.
So saying I usually don't vibe with them and not putting a but you cool or however I like you, just ending it at I usually don't vibe with redheads doesn't necessarily become a negative statement.
Yeah.
It's just, this is my truth.
I got you.
But again, I can see how it can sting, but what she said wasn't an untrue statement.
I got you.
For her.
I hear you. Predictions.
Okay. So, top of list. Kirsten and Shaquille. It's a no for me.
That's a no for me too.
Clint and Gina.
No.
That's also a no for me. Nicole and Chris.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Jasmine and Airris.
Yes.
That's a no for me. Dominique and McKinley.
No.
That's a no for me. So you got 2 yeses, and I have 1 yes.
Yeah. Write down who.
Who did you say yes to?
Nicole, and Chris, and Jasmine and Airris.
Yes. Nicole and Chris, Jasmine and Airris. Artieka's. I'm going to try to do something with this. Yes, is Nicole and Chris. All right, so I guess we gonna see how these go.
So you guys, let us know, what are your predictions for this season, since we got this far into the episode. And let us know in the comments down below, what do you predict? Who's going to stay together? Who's not? Also, check out our reels. I've been dropping a reel every day this month to celebrate Black History Month by giving a Black History fact.
Shorts on YouTube.
Oh, it's reels.
It's shorts on YouTube.
Shorts.
It's reels. And then we're also putting them on reels on Instagram. And then they're also on TikTok.
Yeah.
So August Love Story everywhere. So go follow the social media. Check out these shorts on YouTube since you're already here. Also join us tomorrow morning for the coffee break at 8:30 a.m. Not 8:30 p.m. 8:30 a.m. So you're gonna be here by yourself at 8:30 p.m.
For the coffee break, man, a lot of stuff has happened this week, and we will talk about those things and whatever pops up in the comments.
My best friend says that this is yesterday's news today.
Yesterday's news today.
That's what he calls coffee break. Yesterday's news today.
We gonna talk about it. Man, appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys being here. Make sure to like, share, and comment. Let somebody else know about our channel. And love you guys and thank you.
Bye, y'all.
Peace.